Lions in them foul shot and reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network live from my detachment center. And I titled this video Spiritual Hypervigilance and Irritation. I'm gonna just get straight into it. I guess eventually people join in as they see fit. I want to give a shout out to everybody who likes, shares, subscribe, support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And I appreciated the fact that I believe my unorthodox style, y'all get something out of it. You know what I mean? For real. I really mean that. Let me just hop straight into it. So I kind of feel like Elijah after he had got, now I understand how Elijah felt after he beat the 450 prophets of Baal, right? And then when I read that, eons ago, I'm like, he beat 450 false prophets. And then I'm assuming in the next couple of verses, he tell the Most High, just go ahead, take me on up out of here. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But now that as I think about it, and I just recently got a victory, a lot of brothers don't get, brought my, daughter's mother to court as I was the plaintiff and got the W. However, I'm still kind of irritated. I got the W, that's what you want, but I didn't get it the way I wanted to get it. I actually got the W on the fact that they shot themselves in the foot, which I knew was going to happen because typically, under, any kind of scrutiny, the proverbial narcissist tends to trip over their words and contradict themselves in the same sense. But I didn't get the victory based on the fact that I was able to make an articulated argument with proof and documentation that they're a horrible decision maker and their judgment is anything but sound. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then after the fact, I've been and I notice I go through this, right? Where I'll go through extreme highs and lows in my energetic level. So, after this, climax, if you want to call it that, I just felt the need to sleep. Like I wasn't really, I was happy, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't really in no celebratory mode. Like, because I know now there's more work to be done in the rearing and raising of my child, which I'm fully, taking on the responsibility, right? But then I noticed after the fact, because I had to work today because we're open one Saturday out of the month. And I noticed a lot of times, I enjoy the job and all that, or, my own little getaway spot, because moving and grooving throughout society, even though I'm fool with it, like interpersonally, be very spiritually irritating. Now, mind you, it ain't got nothing to do with me, but perceiving people's energy, talking points. I be having to come here and kind of take my armor off and release all of it to put my armor back on, to go back to where I'm, to take on some more. Hey, what's going on, Bryce? What's happening with it? The Matrix is the supreme succubus. Thank you, sir. Hey, what's up, Steve? Steve Brown, what's happening with you? And y'all gonna help lead me on this, which helps, with spiritual hypervigilance rather, and irritation. The chief cornerstone of the Matrix is the succubus. At this point, which alludes to my irritation, especially when I gauge it through social media, it's like, I understand the women are the weaker vessel and, more emotional. I get all that. But at this point, I am totally convinced the vast majority of women you meet are totally given over to the adversary at this point. They're like, me and my mother was talking about, what's her name? Stacey Ross. And that's what I be talking about, very decorated, I guess actress or whatever the case may be. And she still look good for age. I think she's about 52, you understand? And then she's making these, this is what I talk about, intellectual arguments, well said and spoken, of nothingness. And she basically talking about how she like young meat because men her age are toxic because they hold to traditional values. It's the lack of traditional values that got us in this point in the first place. And then yet and still, we don't want nothing to do with that. The rebellion, the harlotry is almost nauseating at this point. Especially, hey, what's up, brother King Connect? What's happening with it? It's nauseating to me, especially now in, my more evolved state of understanding the word and how to apply it practically. The beginning of knowledge is sorrow. it's sickening at this point. And and it's actually a good thing, because if this world don't irritate you or sicken you, you're probably of it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we still got to navigate it and so on and so forth. And the gathering hasn't happened yet. And I long for it. Because see, here's what's happening. I think what the adversaries are attempting to do, like, you know how you microwave your food, it's done, right? But this isn't what's happening. This is a slow burn. It's almost a war of attrition. You know what I'm saying? You have, like the word said, you have to run this race with endurance, because you will burn out, gas out. If you're not, you know, like I'm doing now. Like, it took me almost 45 minutes to hop on live, because I didn't even know what I was going to talk about, because there's so many different things in my consciousness. It's hard to get it all out in a linear flow and then tie it all together, because seemingly they're all random. The succubus, you know, the politics, you know, just our own struggles against our flesh, you know, your own goals, dreams, and aspirations. You know, what the isolate is beneficial, what the isolation does, but then you have to rewire yourself, because you're naturally in your humanity designed to desire, you know, brotherhood, companionship, your own tribe per se, and yet seemingly the chosen are all spread out. So this may be, depending on who you are, this may be the only platform. And YouTube has actually been a saving grace, because I knew about it, I just couldn't identify you know, narcissistic abuse. I read the word, but it was a lot of brothers on here who helped me to understand the word and how to apply it practically in, I guess, the end times. You know what I'm saying? The preacher man never gave me that. So I've always been yearning for knowledge, substance, and the places you would typically go don't give it to you. So my spirit repels it, and then okay, whatever. But then when you don't go for it, these same entities, people, then label you and try to stop and curtail you. You know what I'm saying? And it gets to be weighty. And I understand, you know, that these are the things we must endure. And here's the tripping part with me, right? Sometimes I want to say, hell with it. And I have it in a thought concept. But whatever's inside of me now that has been honed and forced in the fire of affliction won't allow me to do that, even if I wanted to. I want to say, you know, even leading up to my custody thing, it'd been easier, right? Just to give up, protect my own mental health, da-da-da. And then, like he told Elijah, gave him some food, told him to take a nap. And then it's right back to the battle. Something is spurring me on, even though I don't consciously understand where I'm headed. I guess that's where the faith come in at. Brother Steve Roberts said, Nipsey Hussle said, you got to pace yourself. It's all about your breathing. And that's why, you know, this is my little oasis spot. And I've been doing this ever since, well, the many times I attempted to get clean, something would almost be like how it said in the word where the spirit led Yeshua, forget my translation, or pronunciation, to just a spot. Because this is where I get all my epiphanies. This is where the company, most definitely right, this is where I get my downloads. This is where I do my internal audits to perceive what's going on with me. And I've talked about in previous videos where now once I know something, I'm now responsible for it. So I would get grace and mercy on stuff I don't know. But now I'm held to a higher standard. So in my, you know, just my time on being on earth as a Negro man, right, I would like to get stuff over with so I can go back to chilling. But I can't repay evil for evil, nor can I justify it. So I have to bear up under certain things while the temptation, quote unquote, is there, and allow the Most High to do it in His time and His will. And I don't have a problem with it, but in my intellectual mind, I'm like, how much more must I endure? I've never been this functional all my days on earth, but yet I have more battles than I can name. But by the upholding of the righteousness of His right hand, I don't think about till I get here, because I'm so busy, you know, dipping and dodging or navigating things and so on and so forth. It's only when I sit still, like, oh yeah, they tried to get me, or I got knocked on that, or this business proposal didn't go through, or whatever. And it doesn't, yeah, I feel some type of way, but guarantee by the time I leave here, I'll be charged up enough to go fight some more. You know what I'm saying? Brother Bryce say, everything is a stepping stone from this point, brother. enjoyment and excuse me, y'all, enjoyment in the process when we look back in hindsight and we're evolving rapidly. Really, Rasta, that's crazy. I just went through this with my neighbor, and I think I'd be hindered from going live, right? Because I started just pop on here, make a video, pop off, upload it. But y'all don't realize as well how much y'all help me. Each one, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're supposed to bear up one another's burdens. And that's another thing. Now, I might go off the track of the spiritual irritation and hypervigilance. But you'd be surprised how people have said stuff to me, or I say, like, yo, I'm going through the same thing, or, you know, so I think we're all in our own similar, different ways going through similar experiences on our spiritual growth, development journey. And I'm more mindful of it. But I'm so yearning to how would I word it? I just want to be beyond all this foolishness of the world. But it's actually, you know, my interactions, my experiences in the world that have brought me to this spiritual place. You see what I'm saying? In an age, right, where we've now discovered that, like whatever happened to real diamonds? Because now all the diamonds are moissanite and lab grown. So is the earth producing any real diamonds from the pressure and all that type of stuff, or how that takes that, I guess, you know, chemical process takes place? We now know all the designer luxury things you pay $20,000 for a bag for are made in China for $15. You know what I'm saying? The things that are valuable here really hold no value. They just convince you that it's value. You know what I'm saying? Just the illusion, it get to me sometimes. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you know, if you go through a dark night of soul, you'll realize, yo, my friends ain't even real. My family is actually, you know, kind of designed to keep me in a certain place. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think a lot of times, well, at least me rather, I unconsciously went to drugs to cope with feeling out of place in this world. I felt like that since I was little. You know what I'm saying? So I tend to kind of go, like I play basketball a lot, or just try to find my niche or an escape that isn't detrimental to my body or my mind or my soul. But by the grace of the Most High, I take on more now. And even though I get irritated, I'm actually getting stronger as the battle goes on. You know what I mean? And I pray that be the same for y'all in whatever y'all situation. Because I've basically been through not everything, but the vast majority of stuff that, you know, I guess, you know, any man in America got to go through. You know, heartbreak, betrayal, rejection, doors of opportunity being closed, your plan not working, having to start over, thinking you're on track of something and get down the road and it's not what you thought it was, and deal with all that, you know, mentally. I can deal with it mentally, but I don't know, it's just this longing in my spirit for that which is agreeable to it. Oh, segue me, please. Let me read some of the comments. Okay, I got it. So I go to work today, right? I'm talking about spiritual irritation, hypervigilance. And I am very empathetic, but you have to be wise in extending the empathy, because the narcissist or the meat suits or however people are getting hacked will use your good trait against you. So you kind of, if I word it correctly, you kind of got to display a level of coldness to keep the oil in your lampstand, to let folk know you're not playing. So that it's crazy how I used to get more respect when I was disrespectful. I used to get more women when I treated them like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or were just totally self-absorbed. It's insane. But anyway, because I'll get off track, right? Going back to, went to work this morning. Now, I've been having tire trouble, right? And it's crazy. So a couple weeks ago, I had to shell out some bands for a water pump and a timing belt. Okay, get that rectified. Then I come to work Monday morning, or I go to the car to go to work, my tire flat. Okay. Luckily, I can ride a bike to work like 5-10 minutes. Cool, boom. I'll handle it when I get off work. So while I'm at work, I call AAA. They tell me they can't find a leak. It's mysterious that my tire's flat. So I'm like, all right, cool, boom. No, I'm just pump it up for me. I'm thinking it's just a glitch in the matrix, right? Boom, cool. Get off work Monday. I drive around Monday. I drive around Tuesday. Everything copacetic. Come back out for work Wednesday. My tire back flat again. So I go to work, do the same process. They tell me they can't, so they pump it up again. All right, cool, boom. Do the same thing. Thursday's cool, come out Friday, it flat again. So I'm like, man, what is going on here? So I went to go change the tire, put the spare on. I'm just gonna get a whole new tire at this point. But they put the spare on so tight, I can't get it off with what I got going on. So I called AAA again for the third time this week. They put the spare on, I go to the tire shop. Check it out, right? I go to the tire shop. So they do their little test on the tire. And the woman asked me, is anybody messing with you, or do you park your car in the same spot? So I think it's odd that she asking me this. I'm like, no, why would you ask me that? Because she was like, well, I can't find no leak or nothing, but it seemed like somebody sabotaged the stem valve. Now, I had whatever I had going on. I think it's funny, but whatever. So they put a new stem valve in. All right, cool, boom. That's Friday. Do whatever I had to do Friday. Come back out today to go to work. I only had to work 4 hours. And my tire flat again. Wah, wah, wah. So I'm like, man, whatever, man. I ain't even tripping off that, man. I ain't even tripping. So I ride my bike to work this morning, get to work, put my bike on the bike rack, and I actually startled a young lady who was sleeping beside the job. So she's what we consider a participant of our resource center. So I'm like, damn, shawty, woo, woo. So I wasn't mad or nothing. I'm like, damn, like, gosh, woo, woo. So she tell me, woo, woo, woo. I open up early. I get that. We're supposed to open up 10. I get there at 9 just in case, whatever, right? So, we and her talking. She tell me about all this tomfoolery with her family and people fighting over $2. And I'm like, yo, at what point is you gonna get tired of this, yo? Like, you sleeping outside? And I'm saying that in empathy. You sleeping outside? Like, don't you want better, yo? You keep saying your sister, this, that, and the third, man. Damn, them people, I don't care nothing about you. It's gonna be hard to, do this and do that. But she tell me she refuses to go into inpatient treatment because she has clothes that she don't want to, get rid of. So I'm like, you can't get to the clothes now, and depending on where they at, they either mildewed or somebody stole them. But you don't want to go get healthy to hold on to clothes that you can't obtain. So I start getting irritated. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, already technically trespass because I had to tell my supervisor. And then this the excuse you give me? Nah, just say you want to get high, because I want to go straight to the point. Let's just say you want to get high, yo. So whatever, that's cool, boom. So typically no one's in the parking lot, but it's kind of by like this area. So the dude had parked his truck and his boat where we normally park at. He come in, he say, nah, I'm like, yo, you cool, because ain't nobody gonna come, but Monday will be business, woo woo. So he tell me, he just here for the weekend, and da da da. So we chopped up, pleasant guy. Yeah, you good. I ain't even tripping off that, right? So I'm doing whatever. Me and her and the boat owner had went outside. Well, I'm still inside. The homeless lady was still inside. He go back outside, so he fumbling around on his boat. I see her go outside. I said, oh, she about to panhandle. Which, okay, I get it. You down on your luck. But we get a bad reputation if people are panhandling and doing this, that, and the third. Then the businesses around ain't gonna want us around that junk. And then you'll mess around and put, our ability to help you in jeopardy and my job, which, whatever, right? So then later on, about 10 minutes later, the dude come back in the jump talking about, and he got like money in his hand folded up like this. And he was like, man, is it okay if I, da da da? So I already knew what it was. He didn't do it out of compassion. She propositioned him. He don't know what's going on. So he come ask me. So I'm like, well, technically, no, you're not supposed to do that. But if you feel led in your heart to give it to her, do what you do. So he give her a little rundown, like, I don't give out money. Rich white dude, I'm assuming. I don't give out money, and please don't use it for drugs, and da-da-da-da, right? So he rolls out. So I grab my forehead. I said, yo, shawty, you all wrong first thing Saturday morning. You know you can't do that. Then she get to, like, getting all defensive, this, that, and the third, and whoop, the whoop, the whoop, the whoop. I say, shawty, let's keep it funky with me. Just take the money and go get high, yo. Because you keep telling me these stories about these people doing you wrong, but you're always going to where these people are at to do you wrong. So why you going around that? Because you want to get high. So just say you want to get high, yo. I don't want to hear the rest of it, yo. So I'm just super irritated. I hops online, right? Because normally, I stay on YouTube or whatever the case may be. And this ain't got nothing to do with nothing, but it made me mad, right? So, they got them 20 versus 1 demonstrations. They got a 20 versus 1 with the Booty Warrior Man. The dude that the Boondocks did the parody of. Here is a known sodomite and there are women lining up to see if they want to date this man. Then you got Tracy Ross talking about she only like young meat and she almost getting to the ancient status. They say a nation can rise no higher than its women. I'll be honest, it's getting to the point, like when I was younger, I loved the black women. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing real. It wasn't nothing better. Like Tupac said, the blacker the better, the sweeter the juice. I'm becoming spiritually irritated because I'm becoming disgusted by my own people at this point. Not just female. The Negroes ain't no better. Every time you turn around, the Negro, especially, I keep getting on the gangster Negro, they ain't doing nothing but selling drugs to the oppressors' drugs to your own kind for the most part. Then when you get caught, y'all all tell on each other. You know what I'm saying? And then we act like, and then like in black culture, we esteem and uphold these people. Why? Why? And I know why, but it just make me mad that this is the reality I got to live in, where don't nothing make no sense. And when you try to make or articulate sound talking points, they act like you crazy. Hey, Athea Joy, I think I said your name correctly. Hey, what's going on? Appreciate you coming in here. And again, this ain't got nothing to do with, that's why I'm here, you know, detaching to a degree. But it's every time you turn around, it's just getting more exponentially foolish at this point. Now, you know, I was of the mindset like I want to escape Babylon. But in reality, it ain't nowhere to go at. You go to Asia, the earth, volcanoes erupting over that joint. You go to South America, from what I understand, sexually transmitted diseases are the new plague. I mean, I kind of live in a European country to this point, but I don't really want to go to Europe. You know what I'm saying? I like to go to Africa somewhere, you know what I mean? But I understand it ain't nowhere to run. You just got to bear up under it. And I ain't got no problem with it, but it does get vexing and frustrating sometimes. Oh, I think Athelia Joy with the 19 and 99, I guess super chat. I'm new to this whole live thing, but I do greatly appreciate it. I do. And you know, when y'all support, I want to give an encouraging word, right? But in order to encourage someone, I got to give it the holistic aspect of this reality. And I really feel for the sisters out here, because it's actually probably harder on y'all, depending on how I look at it. Because it's so crazy how, let's say ain't nobody perfect. Let's say you have some, like myself, I'm the king of making mistakes. But you realize it, you humble yourself, you try to atone, you try to live better. At whatever time you come to that realization, right? And then you just can't be better as a sister, because the harlots will come shame you and you ain't even bothering them. You know what I mean? It's insane out here. It's like we're constantly, I know it's in the Old Testament, but it talks about the wicked lying in wait for the righteous and setting up, you know, the snares and attempting to trap you up and all that. It's almost like I don't be doing no running, but I must be wise and diligent about how I move, because it's like, it's almost like a spiritual vampiric kind of environment where I gotta be real leery about getting bit by the vampire, because if I get bit, I might turn into a vampire, if that make any sense. You understand me? Like, wow, this is crazy. But of course we are protected by the Most High, don't get it twisted. And you talking to the man who probably should have been unalive at least 100 times, yo. Like, be totally honest with you. It's just now at this, as I've gotten older in my early 40s, and this, like, my tolerance and my patience for tomfoolery is zero. And I understand everybody wake up in their own time, you feel me? But how much time do we have to embark on this journey? Because the like how the words say, we're perplexed, or yeah, we were perplexed on all sides, but not crushed. You know what I'm saying? And I have to remind myself of this, that all things work for the good of those who love Yah and are called according to his purpose. If I want to be totally honest, it's all my long, arduous journey trying to get off drugs and rehab and what I dealt with there and the many bamboozlers have formed me into what I am now. I couldn't. He without sin cast the first stone. And if any man say he is without sin, he a lie. But I can't do anything and say, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that, because the journey made me have to be self-aware. Like if I'm irritated, I'm not just irritated. In real time, I know I'm irritated. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I got an alert. It's a young partner of mine, his 21st birthday today. That's what mom told me. It was a funny thing, but and even with that being said, you'd be surprised no matter who you are. And that's why this world construct that is satanic is attempting to quench your light. Now I understand why the words say we must fan the fire of our faith. You know what I'm saying? Because circumstantially on a day-to-day basis, it might drain you. It might have you feel like, man, when am I going to hit this goal? When will I overcome this or whatever? And it'll make you want to give up. But I truly believe if you have been called and chosen, you can't give up even if you wanted to. And that's the hope that I got. Not that I have a certain expectation or certain things happen. That no matter what happened, I fight the good fight. And I believe, forgive me for forgetting who said this, but I believe it was Paul when he knew he was about to get executed. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have my Bible with me. He said, I've endured, I've fought the good fight. I'm ready to get poured out like a drink offering. And I think that was like a sigh of relief, like I completed the mission. You know what I mean? Like even when I was younger and more like, I guess, wholesome, like, and nobody told me this, but I'm like, yo, I'm here for a reason, yo. And it's not necessarily to make a whole bunch of money. It's not necessarily, of course, you know, components of daily living and practicality, but it's not just to make a whole bunch of money. Like I'm here to have some level of impact. I wanna be able to uphold the brokenhearted and the downtrodden. I've done it, unwisely, but I wasn't necessarily called to do it at that time. But at the time, because, you know, of how I thought at the time, I used to try to do the things of the Most High without asking him or him anointing it, to kind of bounce the scales of the other detrimental stuff I was doing. So yeah, I'm drunk, but I'll give to the homeless person. Or yeah, I steal bad, but let me stop them from beating this dude up because I know the people. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always, even though I used to be a scourge upon the earth, a vagabond. But even with that being said, there was still some level of desire to help others, even though I couldn't help myself. Even in those times, you know what's crazy too, right? It seemed like I got more grace and mercy when I was dead wrong. I should have went to prison a couple times. The most time I've ever done straight is 6 months, with an extensive record, more so from 18 to 25. I've been in, you know, I've been privy when people around me got shot. I used to be the drunk driving king. What else? I mean, a rampant drug addict. You know what I'm saying? I used to steal bad. I was homeless for the longest. I've been homeless probably in my adult. I've been homeless more than I've actually been housed. You know what I'm saying? But I've gotten a lot of grace and mercy, dead wrong. Then when I legitimately say, yo, I gotta do better by God, by myself, and go on that path, here come all the rejection. Here come, you know, for a while it seemed like I was invisible. And it seemed like now that I'm trying to do right, it seemed like the road harder. But what I wasn't quantifying, and there was no way I could have thought of this, I wasn't realized, again, back to the diamond aspect, in order to refine you and to make you valuable to me, and for whatever I anoint you to do in the future, or you're probably already doing it now and don't realize it, I'm gonna have to put you through the press out of love. Like if I want to be a soldier, I have to go through basic training, which is hard. And then depending on my desire to be, you know, the best soldier there is, the training actually becomes harder. Like there aren't a whole lot of Navy SEALs in the Army. That's an elite group. But what makes them elite is what they're able to endure and the mental fortitude that they have that sets them apart from everybody else. Ken Connect said, as long as I draw breath, I will continue to fight the good fight. There is no going back and loving this world. And I feel like that too. Here it is. I can't go back to the world because the world don't offer me nothing. I see it for what it is. Just like the fake designer bag. It's fake. I mean, optically, what this, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. I see it for what it is now. It's kind of illusionary at this point. It might look or like a mirage in the desert. Like, because I'm thirsty, unless I'm drinking upon the good word or whatever. Like I might, because I'm thirsty, I might see a mirage in the desert and it look like water. But I got to know it ain't no water fountain out here in the desert. It's an illusion. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but I definitely see how illusionary this Babylonian society is. The money illusionary. You got to figure, you got a nation that's what, I don't know, last check, what, 30 trillion in debt. Give me a credit score. You know what I mean? Brother Ken Connect said, Matthew 5:10, blessed are ye which are persecuted for my name's sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you for my sake. Verse 12, rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. And see, that charged me up. And again, and brother, I appreciate you, Brother King Connect. Like when I'm talking, there is the actual application of the word. And I don't think the pastor man be doing it. They give that old watered down stuff. And now, through the word, God has become more than a concept to me. This is the living Yah who has been guiding my life, my entire existence. I have a plethora of friends who have been unalived for a fraction of the stuff that I've been able to survive repeatedly. True bill. People are mesmerized, not only that I'm still on earth, but I'm actually better than I ever been. I'm actually wiser than I've ever been. I'm actually healthier than I've ever been. And I said this to myself one time. I was walking around in Baltimore trying to walk off a hangover. And I said, I might not start coming up until the world start going down. Through the war of attrition. And y'all done charged me up on here. As the battle rages on, I'm actually getting stronger. It's just a mental thing, like I don't want to fight. But I've been so prone and honed to do it, I do it unconsciously. You know, it's the new normal. You know, I guess, you know, in the human aspect of life, humans desire the path of least resistance. But here, as we see here in Babylon, all this comfortability is making everybody weak. Can't nobody go through nothing. I work in the substance abuse mental health field, right? You'd be surprised how many people, let me tell y'all this. I think I talked about in the last video, but I was iced out on like getting medical information pertaining to my child, because I couldn't prove outside of paying money to child support that I'm the father. But then it got disclosed in court that my daughter's mother was giving my prescribed per the medical unprofessionals, I like to call them, Adderall, which is a synthetic version of cocaine. And then I'm thinking, and then, you know, the judge was like, well, you got to consult the medical professionals and whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop. Yeah, whatever, right? I don't want to consult them, because if anybody know what these drugs do, it be them. But here you had, and that's why I don't respect none of them neither. Yeah, you got some letters behind your name and you got whatever salary you got and all that. But how do you, in clear conscience, come up with an objective diagnosis and then give a child a synthetic form of cocaine and act like it's going to help them, other than helping your pockets because you got a kickback for it? The medical professionals were the catalyst for the opioid epidemic. And I don't know none of them going to jail. And here will irritate me too, when we have doctors who hop on here who, you know, be ethical and they make TikToks or YouTubes, especially during that time, they got disbarred. You know what I'm saying? Or they lost their license for standing up for what's right. You know, stand up for what's right. You might lose in this world. You might lose friends, family, job, get socially ostracized. But it's actually a blessing when I look at it in totality. Because if I gotta, you know, adhere to your belief system or way of doing things that I don't agree with, because my heart's still pure to hang out with y'all, I don't want to be around y'all anyway. And it was actually a pleasure for y'all to meet me. But then, even though they're the scum, right, they'll try to, again, in the inversion of Babylon, they'll try to make it seem like you the bad person because you got the dossier on them. That's why they try to, like, you know, what they call it, like the smear campaign, or how the CIA dudes say you crazy and all that, so nobody believe you. Because you actually know what these people hitting for. And one thing these narcissistic people hate to be is exposed. Now back to my court thing. Again, I won by default, but not won on the merit of what I was attempting to expose, which I guess, it might have been a good thing for two reasons. One, because I realized I got like an addictive personality. So anything I like doing, I'm prone to do it to death. So let's say in vengeance, right? I expose XYZ about my kid mama, right? And I win that way. The way my brain works, I'd have messed around and remember something dumb somebody said to me 17 years ago and then be ready to go after them. Now I'm on my Genghis Khan tip. Now I'm running through everybody, whoever got over on me the last 10 years. Totally removed from the ways of the Most High, his teaching. Again, doing something that seemed right, but would lead to my destruction. Then on the other side of the fence, had I done that, it probably would have been detrimental in totality. Because it's truthful, but I would expose, even though she's still, my child's mother, it probably would have affected her and by default affected my daughter. And I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But then I told y'all about the time I was and I knew it, but I went beyond the mark and told my daughter something that was true, but it wasn't for me to tell, even though the other party do it. But that's how I can't do what they do. And we've both been restored, but it was detrimental to my daughter at the time in an attempt to vindicate myself. Most High do that. And I get tired of it, but I wouldn't learn all this and be able to apply it or be tested in it if I'm not in this situation now. So let's say we fast forward in human history. If I'm not trained to obey, whether I want to or I question it or I don't want to or not, I'm not useful. I'm the rogue soldier, or I'm technically doing what Peter did because I think, nah, you can't go to the cross because I love you. But I'm actually out of order and not realizing I've been hacked by Satan to stop the overall goal and mission. That's why in the army, they only tell you what you need to know, because the way war works, if I told you, probably couldn't handle it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Miss Pearl. I always appreciate your encouragement. You've been, hey, I tell you, when I make it big, I ain't gonna forget about you. And I'm not just saying that, because here's where I'm. Now, I'm selfish in the sense of my energy, my time. I don't like being played with. But even when I was younger, one of my goals was to bless others. It is better to give than to receive. Even when I used to be drinking and all that there, I used to get upset with myself if I done drunk up all my money and see somebody legitimately need it, or I felt led in my heart or compelled to bless them with a couple of dollars. You know what I mean? Maybe they might get a beer with it, but I get it. Sometimes you gotta ease the pain. If don't nobody else understand, I do. And I would get mad at myself. I ain't got $2 to give to this man to help, numb his pain from being outside. You know what I mean? And that's kind of irritating to me too, as I try to do certain business things or produce and be creative. Even my time on YouTube. I want to kind of run it up so I can stick my money where my mouth is and bless. Like, I work in the industry with all these rampant budget cuts here in Maryland. It's coming to a point where the average person is going to have to do it, not because they're employed by somebody to do it, but because they have a heart to do it. And then we're noticing, as the love of many is waxing cold, people don't have the same heart for the next human being that they used to. And to some degree, I get it, because you're so focused on keeping your nose and nostrils above the water. It's hard to help somebody else. Or even in that analogy, I see you drowning. I could potentially drown with you if I jump in to save you if you panicking. You know what I'm saying? It's real in the battlefield. Brother Can't Connect said we're fighting the fight we're fighting is hard, but very rewarding. The Most High is in it with his people, training us up to build. And I appreciate you on the live, Brother King Connect. And I heard this on the brother Awaken Remnant Coalition. Normally I can't catch a live, but he has said wisdom, you can't tell, excuse me, especially operating in the world. When, let's say, the wisdom of the Most High, when you're being, let's say, compassionate, forgiving, it doesn't seem wise, and you can't really tell in real time. The only way you can measure wisdom is over a period of time, like a science experiment. You know what I'm saying? So when I made these various judgment calls based on a spirit, like when the spirit led me to quit my job not once but twice, I actually look wise now. Now I question this, like, but the only thing I can't get around is my spirit wouldn't let me go in the building. Even though my mind's saying, yo, bills, be responsible, you ain't worked like nothing in 10 years, whatever. But my spirit wouldn't let me go in the building. Now, almost 2 years later, from the first time I quit, and roughly a year later since the second time I quit the same job, I'm probably one of the only Negroes you ever meet who ran off on the employer twice. They said they calling, I ain't calling bite. It's so bad there that other than maybe one or two people that I was employed with, all of them are a shell of their former self because of the spiritual environment of the job. I chose my spirit over money. And in doing that, I wasn't able to, let's say, continue my financial trajectory, but I was able to financially maintain and sustain by the upholding of the righteousness of the Most High right hand. And that, just like with the last car issue I had, I didn't initially have the money, and in about 3 days I had it from a resource I didn't even know I had. So I didn't like it because I like kind of moving and being, I like staying to a certain routine. So it did disrupt my routine, not being able to drive the car or whatever. But I wasn't necessarily worried, even though I didn't know how I was going to get the car fixed. I knew it was going to work out, and that's ultimately what happened. That's been the case since I've left the job. Or, I don't know, child support pop out of nowhere. And now I got to situate my funds or whatever the case may be. Now I got the money paid them people. You know what I'm saying? It almost, give us this day our daily bread. Or I've seen in a proverbial sense, the Most High provide water out of a rock, or be able to quench my proverbial thirst from an object that shouldn't be able to do that. You feel me? I'm being totally honest. I ain't made up nothing. It's amazing to me, and this it's a double-edged sword the way my brain works, because my mind is very analytical. I like dissecting the game, especially like the game of Negroes. That's why I'm fool with them, right? Because I don't like playing a game. It's not set up for me to win. But it does cause me to overthink or overanalyze, which I don't have to do that. Again, going back to one of my first counselors when I went to Baltimore, he said if you're kind of intellectual, getting off drugs will probably be harder for you because you're trying to understand everything. You don't have to understand it for it to work. You just got to do it. Just like in the Word, or reading the Word, when Most High called people to do certain stuff, it doesn't make any sense. Like when he told Abraham, leave your family and go this way. But he don't say go this way, and at 3 o'clock you'll catch the train, and then somebody will meet you at 7 o'clock. He just said go. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, what else gonna happen? Man, I said go. Keep asking me all these questions. I done created all this and you ask me questions. And then I'll say, well, why? You just can't tell me. You know what I'm saying? Being kind of like a little kid, always mouthing off. But it's not that I'm doing it maliciously or rebelliously. It's just because I have a yearning for understanding. You know what I'm saying? You know how the little kid just keep asking a whole bunch of questions. They're not doing it to get on your nerve. They're just trying to understand. But at where their brain is at, they can't comprehend what you're going to tell them anyway. Or how, little kid might see a butterfly on the ground and just be so enamored with it and just want to analyze it and pick it up and what this and, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like a little kid with the Most High. I don't think he mad at me or nothing. And I'm more mindful of it. And I'm mindful when I'm doing it, and then I just stop, even though it's still kind of doing it. Like, again, with the car thing. So I'm like, well, how's this going to happen? I don't whoop. And I realize I'm doing it, but I also realize it's going to work out. You know what I'm saying? Man, I want to thank y'all for being on this live. And I want to appreciate, because it really didn't go the direction I wanted it to go, or what I had planned on it to go. And that's typically what happens, even in life. I covered it to some degree, the spiritual irritation, the hypervigilance, right? But at no point in time, outside of being unwise, are we at threat of anything the adversary can do to us. Yeah, he can hinder. Yeah, he can kind of vex us or disappoint us through people. But if you think about it, if you anything like me and think about it, outside of how you might feel about a situation, or it might have disappointed you, speaking for myself, this world really ain't been able to do nothing to me. Especially considering the fact I've been betrayed more times than I realize. Now, in wisdom, I'm more diligent about who I fool with in my personal life, but I'm not bitter. And if anybody should be bitter based on life circumstances, it should be me. But that's not the case. You know what I mean? It's gonna be all right, yo. Why is it gonna be all right? Because it ain't got no choice but to be all right. What you gonna come all this way to lose heart now? And I know there is a great fall in the way of the faith. I want to believe that might be more of the institutionalized, constructed religion. But I'm talking about those he's individually called, those who had a different path in life, those who have different spiritual instincts, inklings, and downloads. You're getting better as the game go on. If for nothing else, you're getting better at dealing with Babylon when Babylon is crushing everybody. Everybody. And they're using they're using music, they're using street culture, they're using the church house, they're using finance, they're using the medical system, they're using new age crap. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is getting crushed but us. And with that, all praises to the Most High. I want to thank y'all for the support. I greatly appreciate it. Shamans and them, y'all done blessed the kid today. And I call myself blessing y'all. And with that, I'ma sign off. Ooh, ah!